This is the Car Wash Advisory Podcast, your go-to source for stories, strategies, and insights featuring some of the largest leaders in the industry. Let's dive right in.
Hello, everybody that's watching and listening. This is Harry Caruso of Car Wash Advisory, and today we have a very special and an exciting guest with Tom Hoffman of Hoffman Car Washes joining us here.
Hey, good morning, Harry. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining. And this is one that we've been looking forward to for a while. We can't thank you enough for being on the show.
Thanks for the
And
invitation.
oh, please, it's a pleasure. And we've got a ton to cover, which is going to be awesome because you have been in this industry for so very long. Your family has been. You have such a long tenured history, and you're doing far beyond that of just a single or multi-site operator. You have entire
hmm
other business lines. So, what I was hoping we could maybe start off here with, Tom, is if you wouldn't mind giving listeners and viewers a quick background on yourself, your family's history, your personal history. I think that would be fantastic.
Sure. So, actually, it really started way back when my father worked with his dad at a bowling alley. He started drilling bowling balls at the age of 15, so he started his own business really young in his life. Turned professional, became a professional bowler. He actually hated really working in the bowling alley. The drinking, the smoking, bowling alleys are filthy back then when you could smoke inside buildings. He didn't really like the professional bowling gig. A sales guy from Canada bumped into my cousin at Hoffman's Playland in Latham, New York, selling in-bay automatic car wash equipment of all things back in like 1964, it must have been. And he sent this guy over to my dad. So because he knew my dad wasn't happy with the bowling business, he was looking for something to do. So my dad and my grandfather, his father, bought this equipment and built a small 4-bay self-service in-bay automatic car wash right next to the bowling alley. The equipment apparently was so bad they realized it was junk almost immediately for some reason. I wish I knew the name of it, but they converted the place into a small self-serve car wash. So they were operating the small self-serve car wash, and it had been open 6 months. They were charging 25 cents for a 4-minute cycle. I remember my dad saying. And my dad was in charge of lacquering the lanes after the leagues every night. And he had lacquered the lanes. And in the middle of the night, there was a thunderstorm. And bowling alleys and lacquer, it was very flammable. And the transformer got hit by lightning or something. The building got hit by lightning, and it caught on fire and burned to the ground. So suddenly, my dad's in the car wash business full time with a 4-bay self-serve car wash. And that was it. I have even childhood memories sitting on the family room floor. He raised the price to 35 cents once. Those are those old slide mechanisms where you put a quarter and a dime in. I think there were green walled meters. Anyway, I remember separating quarters and dimes as a kid. But I'll make this a little quicker. But Dan Hanna was, on fire and conveyorized car washes. My dad saw one in New Jersey and got excited about conveyorized car washes probably around 1967. So Dan Hanna chartered a jet and I guess picked up some car wash operators on the East Coast, flew them all to Portland, Oregon, my dad's first plane ride ever, and got all excited. And we ended up building on that site our first conveyorized car wash in 1968. And then my dad really got the bug, and washing more than 60 cars an hour in a conveyorized car wash was a pretty exciting thing compared to putting quarters and dimes in a self-serve. And then we started buying car washes in the area and even building new ones. And I grew up in the business, and I went to Hudson Valley Community College with a banking, insurance, and real estate degree. I was in the business, sucking the mud out of the pits, and I got a kind of a knack of taking things apart and trying to figure out how they worked. I really fell in love with electrical controls, taught myself how to program. We built all our own tunnel controllers starting in the mid 80s, just because I just enjoyed it, had a passion for it. And we were still growing the company. And then in 2018, we started an equipment company called Innovate It, Car Wash Equipment Company, that is here headquartered at our main offices in Albany, New York. And we have about 30 employees there now. We, have welders, water jets. We build chemical dispensing equipment, application arches, a lot of high pressure blasting equipment, a reclaim system that, has absolute filtration, removes all the floating, junk out of the water so we don't clog our high pressure nozzles of our reclaim systems. We build an RO unit that doesn't need any storage tanks, so it saves a ton of space for us um, when especially when we're building new car washes. So it only makes water while you're washing cars. So we also use the reject in like our freshwater underbody spray or high pressure rinses, top blasters. So we utilize all the water from the RO unit. Boy, what else do we make? We make a super heavy duty conveyor, kind of modeled off the Bob Hodge heavy duty conveyor that I think will outlast my lifetime. You just change rollers and chain and sprockets. That's it there.
For
I know
anybody
I
who
know I miss this. And then the motor control centers. We're a UL panel shop, so we can build motor control centers also. So anyway, and I got my two sisters in the business, a brother-in-law, and my mom and dad, who are still active in the business. They're 82 years old now, and yeah, we're all still a family business up here.
for anybody who's been living under a rock, because we skipped from owner of or working at a bowling alley that burnt down by lightning to one self-serve to getting the bug. Where does Hoffman
Yeah.
Car Washes sit today? How big is that footprint? How big is that operation?
Yep.
How what have you grown that into?
So yeah, we're up to 33 locations right now. So it's 29, tunnels, and we have really four locations that do interior cleaning also, detail shops, vacuuming, all that. We have a bunch of in-bay automatic bays. There's many locations, but there's 21 total in-bay automatics. I think we have 58 self-serve bays scattered across a bunch of locations. So some locations have express exterior, free vacuums, self-service. We were a Jiffy Lube franchisee. We have since sold that to Premium Velocity Automotive, which is a subsidiary of the Shell Oil Company. So we're the landlord of 7 of their 9 locations in the, in the Albany, New York area. And then we're spread out, we're in Binghamton, Oneonta, Utica, Rome, Gloversville, Amsterdam, the Albany, New York area up to Queensbury, an hour north, an hour south down to Kingston. In the little towns in between, Wynantskill, Hudson, kind of all over the place, in about a 2-hour radius
I have a
of the
very
Albany.
I'm very good at getting us off topic. And Tom and I had the pleasure of spending a couple hours together the other day, was awesome. So this is no surprise to you. So I apologize in advance, but
Mhm.
I, it's such a pleasure to talk to people who've done this for so long, because one of the things that I think is always fun to ask is, do you think now in today's world, even with all the knowledge you've built up of the space, all the wisdom, all the intricacies and everything around it, do you find yourself now having to improve your car wash game knowledge, systems, components, people, processes more or less frequently than in the beginning?
Um, we probably changed things more in the beginning. We tried to get more disciplined as you have more car washes, and like I think we built 6 locations one year. We were on a tear, so you try to stay consistent. But on the other hand, one of the best ideas my dad ever taught me was, and we still do this, we go to every trade show we can, where we visit car washes all the time to try to learn from the best. So we've taken so many ideas from this very sharing industry and learned, and then we implement, and try to put these best practices, into our locations to improve our business, to constantly improve is really what we try to do, and differentiate our locations from other car washes, and try to be the best and to deliver the best experience to our customers, and even the best experience to the people that work with us. They're really our kind of our number one customer.
They're definitely the face of your business, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
They are in every car wash
Yep.
business.
They make
It's
everything
that
click.
They do. And it's fascinating to me
Yep.
because so many people I talk to, especially first-time private equity groups or institutional investors say, well, what do you mean you're still innovating? It's a car wash. How much innovation could be done? And it's laughable because talking to people who do this and who are constantly moving that needle forward, the innovation really doesn't stop, hasn't stopped,
Yeah.
in your opinion.
There's hundreds of little things. The moment a customer sees our location, the landscaping, the sign, the cleanliness of the property, the condition of the building, the quality of your people. I mean, it goes on and on and on through the whole process. Um, you see great businesses like Disney World and how they focus on every little detail. There's there's hundreds of little things that we have to execute perfectly.
It's an art. It's an art. It's a masterfully
Yeah, yeah,
crafted art, which is
yep,
why I would be so bad at it. I'm not very artistic. So that makes sense for me. So, all right. So we have built the Hoffman car wash empire, and then tangential there too, we have Innovate It. Is that correct? And
yep,
that,
yep,
Tom, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth whatsoever, but it sounds to me, and from our discussion the other day, that was built purely out of, I want to be our customer. And if I want to be our customer, I'm sure other people want to be our customer and have the same sort of
yep.
desires.
Yeah. Well, we started it too, right? Because we were starting to expand quickly, and it kind of felt like let's build the equipment that we want. We wanted heavy duty equipment because we also learned that when unlimiteds came into the industry, we started washing more cars and wearing out our traditional car wash equipment more rapidly. Like instead of getting 15 or 20 years out of a conveyor, it was now like 10. Anyway, everything was wearing out much quicker. So we really beefed up our equipment, just so we build it to last. And, we're not a company that's building locations and in 3 to 5 years we're gonna, sell it. And so all we want to do is get the cheapest stuff in there and because we're gonna unload this place. We're in it for the long haul, both for the innovative car wash company and Hoffman Car Wash. We're a family business and we're not going anywhere.
That to me means the world of a difference. And I think, without getting too far into the pricing, and obviously you guys offer an entire spectrum of products and services, but just in general, just for listeners, viewers, where does my immediate mind goes is, shoot, is the good stuff 10 times as expensive equipment wise? And I'm curious to get your take on, is it, if you really want quality when you're looking at some of these absolutely fundamental components, it pays for itself 10 times. It's not
Right.
really. Is that right?
Well, right. And, some of the most expensive components in our equipment, is the stainless steel we use. It's never going to wear out or rust or any of that. And our stuff is premium equipment and it is more expensive, but especially if you were to weigh it, like the weight of it is probably double of some of the other equipment we see in the industry. And it's just going to outlast everybody's equipment. And then the components we use, again, Shane Groff helped me start this company, and he's, a really well-known maintenance guy that worked with one of the most famous car wash operators in the industry, Mike Mounts of Cloister Car Wash in Pennsylvania. And they were heavy duty builders. If you've ever visited their locations, they're amazing. And they're owned by Mister now. But he- you know, he was a maintenance guy. So when you build something and you're a maintenance guy, you're going to build it so it never breaks, or it very infrequently breaks. So again, the bearings, the steel, the ASCO valves, the best solenoids, the best of everything is what we incorporate into the equipment we build.
And let's talk about that. Makes total sense. By the way, side note question: is that the Mr. site where they used to serve hot dogs and they got rid of it and the customers went bananas? The huge site in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
I
I don't know. I don't remember the hot dog story. I don't
there was
know.
there was like there it must have been. It has to have been. It rings a bell. Um, Maybe it would be nice to kind of understand. So you briefly went through it, but breadth of how should car wash first time builders, current owners, how should they think about Innovate It and your sort of purview of offerings? And then maybe we can even dive into sort of some of the more specific advantages of certain products that you want to talk about, any of that. But in general, how does that breadth look and how should people be thinking about you?
Yep. Well, we're not owned by private equity, so we're really focused on our customers and in customer service. And the other thing is we install the equipment we build in our own car washes. So we're kind of our own laboratory. So the R&D part of it is great. And our people are very fussy at Hoffman Car Wash. And when there is a problem with an innovative piece of equipment, Hoffman Car Wash is I don't know if I'm sorry to say it, but is the most important customer. So they get a lot of attention. And when something's going wrong, Innovate It jumps on it and fixes it. So anyway, we bring that I think to our other customers. We really want to build quality stuff, and we have a customer service team. I mean, we have a general manager that runs the whole operation. Nathan Birch just joined us from Express Car Wash, one of the most experienced guys in the industry. His father-in-law is a brilliant engineer. He works with us. He designed our RO unit and our reclaim unit. Anyway, two brilliant guys helping us be successful. We just have a lot of exciting things going on, and we're really excited to build that part of our business, the equipment business, and innovate it.
Okay, so I have another impossible question for you before we get into the specifics of any, the reverse
Hmm.
osmosis or any of the specific offerings. The goal, I talk to companies every day, and it's more so on the operator side where it becomes almost, dare I say, redundant, where everybody's goal is to become a 100 site car wash operator or the largest or 500 sites. You pick your number, right? The goal of
Hmm.
Innovate Ed, is it size centric? Is it filling a solution or a need, providing a solution for a need? How does that all fit into the grand scheme of things?
Well, obviously, we're hoping to grow the company. We're not looking to triple our headcount at the company, and we don't have these gigantic dreams, but we have distribution partners around the country. We work closely with a lot of the chemical companies in the industry, especially because of our chemical dispensing system. Again, that's heavy duty stainless steel, never going to wear out, uses off the shelf components. There's really nothing, there's nothing proprietary on it. So people can service it themselves, or we can help service it. But again, we're trying to grow the company and make everybody in our company successful, and especially make our customers successful. Having more reliable equipment in their car washes to wash more cars and more cars more effectively.
Which, when we really get down to it, makes it easier to sell, which benefits
Yep.
car wash advisory, which is really what we're all after at the end, right? Of course,
Yep.
of
Yep.
course.
Yep.
So that makes complete sense. So you mentioned a couple different products. The reverse osmosis seems extremely exciting. The chemical panel, what are you calling that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's a dispense it. Um, that's part of our backroom products. And again, there's a highly reliable SMC air solenoid, air operated solenoid that of course it's stainless steel rocket injectors to help mix your raw solutions. And any chemical company can incorporate this chemical dispensing solution into anybody's car wash. And we've actually just came out with a more compact version of it. So in smaller equipment rooms, especially during remodels, it's going to be easier to install. It's all pre-wired, so you just run your control cable to it, and it's just been phenomenal product for us. Easy to service too. We have a tip down board on it, so you can get behind it, to run new airlines if you're hooking up a new product. It's just an amazing piece of equipment. It's one of our most popular items.
Do you sell any equipment that you don't use?
No, not that I can think of. No. I
That's pretty
mean,
cool.
again, I mean, obviously, when we started the equipment company, we wanted to only build stuff we were going to use. We didn't make any kind of exotic one-off. We're never going to use that thing, but I know people want it, so no, we use everything that we build.
That's awesome. Okay, so that's super cool. That makes total sense. And then the reverse osmosis, I've talked to 4 or 5 different individuals that are tinkering with coming up with their entire own system for this. So clearly there's a huge
Hmm.
pain point here. Would you mind maybe walking through the listeners, the viewers, what have you figured out in that regard, and what does the solution look like or
Right,
enable?
right. So what kind of the epiphany we had was the cost of materials during construction during, j just after COVID when inflation took off. Manhole covers for our underground RO water storage tanks and the contractor excavating to bury them and to put the manholes on and to gang the several tanks together. We just realized how expensive the infrastructure was. So this RO unit is a standalone unit that's plug and play ready to go. It delivers water to your, RO rain bars, and the reject water goes right to whatever item you want. So we have a delivery pump on it, and we have a pump that makes the water. The pump that makes the water is VFD controlled, so it's a variable speed drive that modulates the amount of water that the unit makes depending on how busy you are. So as you get busier, it can make more water to keep up with production. We have a standard flow unit and a high flow unit. So we have 2 rain bars and a mirror rinse in our locations that use RO water, and our standard flow is big enough for that. They're 8-inch membranes instead of the typical 4-inch. So they're kind of like you could say industrial sized RO membranes. And there's an onboard 100-gallon tank as kind of a buffer, and then there's a pump on board also that is the repressurization pump to send the water to your to your functions in your car wash. It saves you so much time and effort, and especially safe during construction. And in a remodel, you could remove all your storage tanks in your back room to accommodate maybe some new equipment. Maybe you need high pressure pumps, which we happen to build heavy duty high pressure pumps, direct drive pumping units on really heavy duty, structures with 100 gallon tanks on them. But anyway, the RO unit is an amazing piece of equipment.
All right, so you're giving me a thread that I have to pull here. That makes complete sense. It's a standalone
Yep.
unit. It sounds like it's easier to clean, less frequent maintenance, works better, and it comes
Right.
as a
And there's
complete.
there's actually a few patented ideas built into this system. So at the end of a day or at the end of a cycle, we actually take RO water and run it into the membranes as a kind of a backflush. So the membranes sit idle in pure RO water to help remove any contaminants that may be embedded in the membranes. It should prolong the length of the DuPont filters, and it's actually in the DuPont manuals that it's a recommended feature in an RO unit
So it's
to
self-cleaning?
backflush them. Well, dissolved solids in normal municipal water, right, are removed by RO units. So when there's no contaminants or dissolved solids in water, it kind of becomes a little more aggressive. And some people would even say RO water helps clean a car, make it a little cleaner and shinier. And that's why the car wash industry uses it as the final rinse. It produces a better car. Not to mention it doesn't leave spots behind on mirrors and glass and the body of the vehicle. So by using that quality water with no dissolved solids and put it back into the membrane, remember the membrane's removing dissolved solids. So some of the dissolved solids are in the membrane at the end of a cycle. So by flushing it at the end with a little RO water, you remove the remaining dissolved solids and getting them out of there overnight. And it
They're
it, it
sharp.
will help prolong the length of the life of the membranes.
That's awesome. Okay, so that makes
Yep.
sense to me. So if it makes sense to me, it makes sense to
Hmm.
everybody,
Yep.
which is good. I'm not the best on the equipment side, to say the least. So, Tom, you mentioned something, and as I mentioned earlier, I had the privilege of spending some time with you the other day, which was just awesome. And we got to see a couple of your sites. And for some of those sites to be the age they are, and to be doing the numbers they are, and have the
Yeah.
employees be as happy as they are, and the customers be so relying on these washes and so proud to be customers of them. I'd love to get your take, and I'm sure every listener and viewer would as well, how you view preventative maintenance and how you may look at something like preventative maintenance and say, hey, this isn't a necessity that we have to put up with, but maybe an opportunity to do some of this innovation that actually could be quite exciting.
Yeah. Well, when you run a car wash business, I think you realize things wear out and break. And your buildings, there's a lot of wear and tear in your buildings and equipment. So we have always been a company that takes our profits and sets aside a portion of it for capital improvements. After years, of abuse and washing cars, we go back and we remodel our locations. And what we've found is it's dramatic. We want to make our old locations look like our new ones. So we'll go in, and actually we just had one of our smallest car washes was 100 foot long, rear wheel push steel conveyor, and we were also still prepping. It was the last location that we were prepping. So and it also happened to have a 10-foot ceiling, which is very low. So we put new roof trusses on and achieved a 12-foot ceiling. We are putting in an AVW, or we put in an AVW belt. We just recently opened this location about a month ago. So we have an AVW belt, and that helped us pick up, because of their front wheel pull, an extra 15 feet of equipment space, which allowed us to put in our innovative blasting equipment, again, to replace the prepping experience and to get the sand and snow and ice and mud off cars. So we have two top brushes, a set of wraps, set of van high side brushes, and a comfortable enough rinse area and nine new blowers. So we're putting out an amazing car now at this location, and I think we have a chance of doubling our sales at this location because the customer experience has been so improved. We're getting so many great comments. The car quality is amazing. We also tore down the 5 self-serve bays that were attached and replaced it with, a brand new stainless steel Vacutech free vacuum area. And the place is a hit now. But when you remodel your locations, people are going to notice these things. We spent $3 million at this location. We did 1.7 million in equipment, and the rest was on the building. New sand settling tanks, the vacuums, really tipped that place upside down and almost started from scratch. And it was technically a remodel, which was nice. So we didn't have to go to the planning board. We just had to go get a building permit and a demo permit.
Just to make sure, because I'll get the most comments on this. Can you, or did Tom say this? You're telling me how long have you on this site in totality?
Well, I believe it was built in the 80s. My cousin actually owned it as the Rain Dancer Car Wash. We bought it from I think about 15 years ago. We operated it, we had remodeled it once when we bought it, and then we just did it again. So this is its second remodel technically.
So
So
somebody who owns a car wash for 15 years and keeps it up to snuff, you're not letting it go to, hell in a
yeah,
handbag or disregarding it or
no,
neglecting
no.
it, has the opportunity to potentially double revenue through significant
I
capital
think so.
investment.
Well, again, that's from experience. So we've done these remodel projects in the past, and we've easily seen 50% increase in business at remodeled car washes. Because again, it's I'm gonna look at see when I have a cheat sheet of when we purchased car wash. We've owned it since 2014, so about 11 years is when we purchased it. And we remodeled it then, and then we just remodeled it this year.
All right, two big questions
But
because this
anyway,
is a
remodeling and changing, especially the exterior look of the building, it just causes people to understand you're investing in your business, you're making improvements, and then when you in fact put out a better car and have a better experience, your business is bound to go up.
You're telling me better product, better service, happier customers, more money?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm following the math.
Yep. Yep.
So one question I get asked a ton, we get asked all the time, is if I'm going to go and put all this money into the preventative CapEx, if I'm going to go ahead and revamp my landscaping and do new signage
Hmm.
and put in an extra arch, what percentage of the incremental success or even customer retention that I'll be feeling as a benefit is the responsibility of my team in communicating these upgrades to our clientele? Is that something that
Well, we do a lot of marketing and social media around these remodels. First of all, we're closing a car wash for like, I think it was 113 days.
wow.
So, fortunately, we had other locations pretty close by, so we didn't have to disrupt our unlimited customers. In more remote markets, we actually pause the unlimited accounts and stop charging people if we close, just because, that's how I'd want to be treated if I was a customer. So anyway, so we had some options right around the corner for our customers. But again, we're on social media. We're giving updates during the remodel process. We really try to stick to a reopen date so we can tell people we opened just before Thanksgiving this on this project. So yeah, communication is a big deal.
Is that communication on the brand level and able to be done on a brand presence sort of perspective, or does it have
Well,
to be
sure. It's on
done?
our, yeah, it's on our website. It's on our Facebook pages, TikTok, Instagram. It's on all the social media platforms. We're pretty active on the social media side of things.
And it's not the attendant saying, "Hey, do you see our new sign? You want to upgrade your wash package?" It's not so much that.
Oh, right. Well, then always the big launch is just like opening a new car wash. We open up for free, so we're blasting cars through, um, like crazy. When we reopen, we want to reintroduce everybody to the location. So we've promoted free washing. We only did one weekend at this location, at a brand new facility, especially in a new market. We'll run free for maybe a week or two at the most. I remember once we were doing so great signing up new members that we started washing so many of the existing members again, and we were still free. They're like, "Well, why did I sign up?" And it was a discounted deal anyway. But anyway, so you can't run free forever, even when you're signing up new members. But that was a lesson learned.
It's just too cool though. And if anybody listening or viewing doesn't know what your footprint and your competitive landscape at Hoffman Car Wash looks like, take the time to go look because this is by all intents purposes means you don't have 15 national competitors like in Dallas all breathing down your neck. Nobody's
Right.
forcing you to do these upgrades. And you
Yeah.
still, having been in the business this long, take the time, the capital, and the effort aside to
Yeah.
reinvest massively into your sites with nobody breathing
Yeah.
down your neck to do it.
Right. Well, even though we're the capital of New York State, New York City sucks the air out of the room for the whole state. Um, we only have about 1 million people in about 100 or a 50 to 75-mile radius of Albany. The city of Albany itself, I think, has less than 200,000 people living in it now. It's just state office buildings. It's yeah, upstate gets kind of left behind, unfortunately. All the big money is down south. And that's where all the people live. But anyway, so we have, our 29 tunnels upstate. We're like on top of each. We started cannibalizing ourselves. We almost, kind of built too many in the market. There's a ton of tunnels in the market, and there are competitors. I mean, we do have other competitors. Splash is here, Tidal Wave is here, Colonial Car Wash, a local operators here. There are a lot of car washes in this market.
Tom, absolutely. And I didn't mean that there was no competitors. And I think it's worth pointing out that not once during this entire conversation so far, not once did you say, well, we have to upgrade. We have to reinvest, as if you don't, you're going to be left behind.
Yeah.
No, you have to do that because you want to continue moving forward.
Yeah. I think we
Right?
almost overinvest in our places and remodel almost too often. I mean, we want our places to look brand new. Um, you know, y- y- again, we have car washes built in the 70s that just got remodeled. I mean, it should never end. And that's how you protect yourself too from competition. If you're not running a great business, and that includes your people, your curb appeal, the landscaping, the building, the quality of your equipment, the speed of service, your production. Again, it's 100 little things. There's really no one silver bullet here. But yeah, we're just constantly reinvesting.
It's a
It never ends.
fascinating industry. It's one of the smartest people I've ever met said if your business isn't growing, it's definitionally dying. And I think there's a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
truth.
yeah. I've heard that too. Yeah,
And I not to harp on this point, but I think one of the things that made this industry so fantastically interesting from my perspective in the beginning was that there seems to be no logic behind how you can take a population around this single site that you're mentioning and double the revenue. Let's assume price stays the same by revamping the wash. Because Tom, what you're
yeah,
really assuming and implying is that there are people that because the wash offering is better, who wouldn't have gotten their car washed. There are now twice as many
yeah,
people who feel compelled to do so because the service offering is better.
yep, yep.
And there's a
Well, the
very
jury's out, and the jury's out on belts. I mean, when you have a belt versus a rear wheel push conveyor, your production is going to improve. So we're going to have shorter lines, which, famous car wash operator Bill Martin, his famous saying is, "Your line is your sign." So when you have a line, people are so time sensitive, they might drive on by, and you've lost that opportunity forever. Maybe they come back later or the next day, but if I know we're going to wash more cars because of the belt, and then I know that the product quality is so good that people are going to notice like it's a really great car wash. And there's going to be people more apt. Actually, we're signing up unlimited members at this place like crazy too because it's brand new. Our guys are refreshed. They're excited. It's the holiday season. So adding unlimited members, more sales, more cars. So again, there's all these little things. And then, the free vacuums people are going nuts about. The place had old-fashioned coin operated vacuums before because we had no room for free vacuums with the self-serve bays in the way.
but it's
So
been there forever. You didn't this
yeah,
wasn't, a bathtub in the middle of a parking lot that you turned into a car
right.
wash and we're doubling revenue. This
Yeah.
was an
And you drive
opera.
by the place right now, it looks so different. I mean, you can't help but notice, oh wow, that looks new. And yeah,
It's
it's gonna be
incredible.
it's gonna be great. Yep.
What, Tom, what do people miss when they look at these preventative maintenance upgrading items? If you could share from all your wisdom and all your years, what is like the biggest misnomer that people have in their head? Like, oh, don't replace this item until it breaks catastrophically, or like
Yeah.
people spend too much time on this, not that.
Well, moving forward and our big headache or heartburn back in the day was we always prepped. We had a guy on each side of the car, and then we even backbrushed the car with a mop and a bucket. And then, when you're watching your customers going through the car wash, it's like half the people are on their cell phones now. So it's like people aren't even paying attention in the tunnel anymore. But we really, I think, overdid the whole like we have to put out a perfect car and we have to have all this attention in the beginning. And there's water flying around and steam and humidity from the hot water from prepping. So switching from prepping to no prepping. And again, when you make a big change, you have to explain it to your customers, especially in the first few months. So we installed automated equipment in the tunnel to replace the prepping. And we have 0 degree oscillating high pressure nozzles blasting the sand, salt, ice, and snow off the car. And then we're providing a more consistent experience. So now we have one guide on attendant, and sometimes two on a busy day, making it much more comfortable for people pulling into a bay that doesn't have two or three guys running around, stepping in front of cars. The safety is improved. And again, the big thing was the production. I mean, and it's also more efficient with labor by doing that. So,
Did you
like
see
again,
any
improving equipment.
downside? any decline in quality?
Well, yeah, if you're not brushing the back window under the nooks and crannies of a louver, I know we're not cleaning a back window as well as we used to because we're not hand washing a car at the beginning of the process. So no, it's not perfect. But again, when I think about customers, I think car wash operators almost get into a trap of expecting or thinking that every customer wants perfection. Like we really focus on spotting. So we're producing a clean windshield with, and again, with no buff and shine. We're using horsepower to dry the window, and we're using a lot of RO water to produce a spot-free experience. So they're looking through the windshield, they see a quality windshield, and then especially the mirrors. So we have a Mosmetic high-pressure spinning hard water rinse as step one of mirror rinsing at our last top brush. So it gets all the soap from out behind the mirror. That's going to drip out and spot your car on the way out of your place down the road. Then step two will be the RO mirror rinse. So we're hitting the mirrors with a final rinse of RO water. And then the other thing we do too is we measure the height of a car. So taller cars get a spinning high pressure rear window rinse also. So we're getting all the soap off the back of the car really efficiently. But then the one little secret to differentiate our place is we have a side blower that's kind of pointing toward the exit instead, just slightly, like 45 degrees. It hits the side window, ricochets off against the mirror, kind of creating a high pressure area against the mirror, and it's blowing the larger droplets of water off the mirror. So the small little droplets that remain are spot-free water from the RO unit, and we're getting like perfect side mirrors just with a little blower trick in the drying area.
Which is the first place.
Again, effective rinsing too, obviously.
But it's I mean,
Yeah,
taken out of context, I think 90% of the conversations I have around work can be viewed as psychopathic in a way, right? Like this is two grown men talking about getting water droplets off the mirror of a car. But it's actually
yep,
remarkably important because that's where everybody's eyes go, whether they know it or not, when they're driving out of that
sure,
tunnel. Every
yeah.
single time. And
You know,
that stuff
and,
is
yeah, and cleaning
what's
the
that?
car obviously is important. So, because of unlimited washing, we switched to foam washing material. Closed cell foam doesn't trap any solids and any dirt. So we're more gentle on the car than ever. And our control system monitors the electric motor of the wraparounds 200 times a second. When the front of the car touches the wraparound, we can literally feel it because we see a rise in amperage. We assist the wraparound off the nose of the car because we set our AVW wraparounds aggressively to get to clean the back ends of the car better. So we air assist with the air cylinder across the front of the car. We go back to washing pressure on the side. We have a mirror assist feature, so we bump out, get a little lighter around the mirror so we don't flip it forward. Then we go back to washing pressure, and then on the back of the car, we change the air pressure to 0 psi so that the wrap can aggressively go across the back to clean the back ends done. And this is achieved with an analog signal on an SMC proportional air regulator. It's a super simple control system that's repeatable for every car. So we're getting a more efficient wraparound experience for the customer, and it's doing a better job. It's cleaning the car way better, and it
Tom,
can
of all
do
the
hitch retract, front retract. I mean, it does every function in one simple valve. It's not a relay contact. It's an intelligent valve that we control over Ethernet or analog, depending on how you want to do it.
and this is something Innovate It sells.
Yeah, we sell that wraparound control system. We do the same thing for the top brushes too. We use that same proportional air regulator to to help the top brushes, contour the vehicle more accurately.
Fascinating. So you guys really will run the entire brains of the entire electronic component system for these, is
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you
we write our own software. We have developers and support staff that it supports all this stuff. But it's all computer controlled over networks now. It's really reliable hardware. And even the variable frequency drives, we're talking to them again like 200 times a second. We have full control. We're getting amperage feedback. We can do text messaging. Yeah, it's incredible systems that we've developed.
It's too cool, and you use it all. You are your own customer. I can't get over that
Yeah,
because to me that's
yeah,
just as cool as it gets. Oh, you're having some trouble with that? So are we. Let's
yep,
figure this out,
yep,
right? It's
yep,
not
yep,
good luck.
exactly.
Um, Tom, this has been so fantastically awesome to have you on. Is there anything you want to leave listeners and viewers with that, in terms of your unlimited wisdom in the industry and your entire history?
Well, yeah, yes, we're a small equipment company, but and we don't make every piece of equipment, but with our other distribution partners, we can provide a turnkey solution for our equipment company customers, where we can do the layout of all the equipment, provide every single thing that makes our company so successful, in the back room and in the wash process. We work great with all the point of sale companies. We can that's the thing. We bring people in to see the product we put out at the end, some of the cleanest, driest cars in the industry, and people should come visit us. We have an open door policy, and anybody can come visit, and we can provide the entire package to produce a business that's been successful for over 50 years. Yeah, we're here to
Um,
help.
Let me ask you something because I don't know why I didn't earlier. Where in a new owner, a current owner, a prospective owner, somebody with a site that they're really rehabbing, where in their process does it make sense to say, "Hey, I wonder if I should call Innovate It and give Tom Hoffman a call"? When in the process is it when you would typically call?
Oh, I would say the sooner the better. That way you're not wasting as much time. And I swear, visiting other successful car washes is the greatest advice that I've learned from my father. He traveled everywhere looking at all the best operators in the country. And the trade shows. Again, the trade shows are priceless. You should always go to the trade shows.
One wandering trip to a trade show is what got me started in the industry 7 years
Oh,
ago,
sure.
without any
So
idea
yeah,
what I
it's,
was
this is
doing.
one of the best industries on the planet too.
It literally is. It's like no
Yeah.
other. Anybody who
Yep.
cannot see that has not stepped their foot in the industry because I've yet to see any other industry quite like it. So,
You're right.
Tom, I cannot thank you enough. Here's what we're going to do. So, for listeners and viewers, we're going to have all of Innovate It and Hoffman Car Wash and Tom's contact info, links, all of that stuff, all
Yep.
applied in here. Tom, I cannot thank you enough for joining the show. It was an absolute
You're
pleasure,
welcome.
and I'm sure we
Appreciate
will
the
get it
invitation.
on.
Yeah, thank you very much, Harry.
My pleasure. Thank you, Tom.
All right. You're welcome.